Well, it's a good morning from it's the third day of June. We're into the winter here in Queensland, which is the best time of the year, to be perfectly honest. Blue skies, nice cool mornings, but warms up to about 23, 24, 25 degrees Celsius for our American listeners and viewers from North America. And as a consequence, our guest today is actually from Australia. And but without further ado, I'm going to go straight to Elisa, who's sitting there at Cape Canaveral, where they had that major incident there with Jeff Bezos' rocket today or last week. Anyway, it's a good evening to you there, Elise.
Yes, definitely. And good morning to you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited that you got Darren with us today because I actually studied to be a medium and I failed at it, but that we'll get to that story later. So welcome, Darren, so much for being here. And I would love it if you could just tell us who you are and how you got to where you are today. And because I don't like reading bios, I want people to connect. Yeah. And so just tell us all about you and your mediumship, how you got there and all that good stuff.
Oh, well, firstly, thank you very much for having me on. It's very nice to connect with you guys.
Welcome, mate.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. Really, for me, it was going through a lot of tragedy for me. It was, as we're all sort of like got our own journey. We're all a little bit different. We've all got our unique lives. But for me, I just never really kind of understood where I fitted in as a kid. I didn't really understand a lot. And the further life went, the more tragedy that happened, and I sort of lost my parents and family very early on. And after sort of, trying to fit in with life and not really understanding the whole purpose of it and not really understanding, but when I lost my family, through death, and then I developed a leukaemia, a cancer at the same time. And it was like a turmoil. It was a tornado of events. And, cut a long story short, after sort of getting through all that, you don't look at life the same. You just don't look at it the same. You place more value on the small things in life, and you try to find. I think it forces you to step into your power more, step into yourself more, which is, for me, the goal of life, looking back now. But after that, I just kind of went, well, it was quite of a long journey, like I've summed it up very quickly, but, it was years with leukemia and treatment, and that was kind of horrible, and dealing with the death of, parents and that sort of thing. And then coming out the other side, I just went on this humongous inner healing journey of traveling the world several times and not even really knowing what I'm looking for, but just knowing that I'm trying to find where I fit in, or try to understand life a little bit more. And the mediumship aspect opened up very early, I was around 25, but I didn't really do anything with it. It was more the prominence of a healing journey, actually. And I'm a very big believer in timing is everything. And I wouldn't have been able to do anything with mediumship. It was time for healing, not for mediumship. Even though there were aspects of it playing out, the main purpose, and it was very obvious what was going on, was I had to heal myself to a certain degree. And that, yes, to a certain degree. That was first and foremost on every level. And it's amazing when we go on these healing journeys, how much comes up that we didn't even realize that we were suffering from or dealing with. It's amazing what comes up, and we're all got special healing journeys, and yeah, it's just amazing. But that healing journey kind of took me all over the world, and like we mentioned before, into the Amazon rainforest, and doing ayahuasca and with the Indians and trying to find where I belong.
Yeah, absolutely. So how old were you when this happened? When the
I
first, did your
was
mother pass away first?
yeah, it's really funny because I was what you would call a man child. I was very content at home. I was actually a sportsman. I was looking to play professional basketball, and um, I was very much didn't want too much to change at home. Everything was good, and when I hit 22, that's when my dad passed away, and then I got diagnosed with leukemia. Then my mum passed away. And it was just like, my goodness, what has happened here? You know, what has happened here? Everything changed in just so rapidly. My whole world changed so rapidly.
So what
And
are
I
the
just didn't
questions you
know
start
what to do
asking?
after that.
Yeah, so what are the questions you start asking when this happens? When something like that happens to you? What do you start, like, what goes through your mind?
For me, it was, what is the purpose? Why am I suffering in life trying to work jobs that don't even matter when the most precious things in my world are now gone? Why would I want to suffer? Why wouldn't I not want to step more into just seeing what life has to offer in the best way? Because what does it matter now? I've lost so much that mean to me. So I don't want to just settle for ordinary.
Yeah, so going to a job, right? Nine to
Yeah.
five, going to a job every day, right? Which doesn't bring you any joy or happiness.
No.
So yeah, so definitely. So then how did you decide to, I mean, if you have leukemia, how did you try to heal that first, or you decided to just go?
No, I had to had to heal first. I ended up having a bone marrow transplant, and it was a little rocky for a while. It took me a while to recover from that. Um, but you take one step at a time, and that's where, to be really honest with you, that's where I really learnt to be very present in that journey. And I speak about this to other people. This is where I learnt to live one day at a time and enjoy the most beautiful small things in that day, because I don't know what tomorrow brings. And when I don't know what tomorrow brings, from now till tomorrow felt like a lifetime. Oh, I don't have to worry about my results until tomorrow. Oh, that's a lifetime away. I can enjoy this afternoon, this tonight, and worry about that tomorrow. So I learnt to really enjoy the moment and be present and not think too far ahead.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And that
Okay.
was quite prominent for me.
Okay. Yeah. And so as you're going through that mindset of healing,
Yeah.
um, what did you have any thoughts of, like, okay, when I heal, I'm going to do this or something like that? Or were you just, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I know.
was,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Not at the time I was going through it, it was more, I'm just going to try and survive this. I'm just going to get out the other side, but not know I didn't really know what to expect. And then when I came out the other side eventually, that's when it was like, now what? Now what? And that's where the massive inner reflection took place. And it's like, well, I've lost this. I almost lost my life. Can you really go back to how things were? It's gone. It's changed. Everything's different. Now it's time to find out what Darren wants. What does Darren want, and who is, what's the next step?
wow. And so what,
So
was it
yeah.
something that you saw or something you thought about, when you started taking off and traveling, or was it, did it come to you at the time?
Yeah, yeah. Do you mean the mediumship?
No, the going all over the world. Like,
Yeah,
was that just
it's so funny. It's so funny, and it's so nice to have you, because it's making me think back, and it's making me. It was also natural. Like, it was also when I came out of it, my mediumship was at play, but it was so funny. I was trying to do things with it, but every door would shut. Every single door would shut, and other doors would open up into do with travel, healing. And it was very, very apparent that it wasn't the time. And it was very frustrating. It actually really annoyed me. I was very frustrated about it. But I thought, well, you got to walk through the open doors. So I went through the open doors, and it took me on massive healing journeys. And I just took one step at a time. I booked something, and I went for a year, and I was overseas, and I was in the Amazon, and I met the most amazing people about their journeys. And oh my goodness, the inner reflection for myself. And it just didn't stop. It just kept going. And then I think I just learnt to take life as it comes, with which doors open, and just, there's an intelligence in life. I started to see an intelligence in life even beyond what I understood. Even though I didn't understand it, there's an intelligence playing out. And I thought, well, I just have to trust that. I just have to trust it. I don't understand it. I don't know it, but I've got to trust it. And that's what I did. Even though I was frustrated and I didn't know what to do, I just know somehow the universe, the world, God, whatever you want to call it, knows better than I do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I just said, you know what? It's time to surrender. And it's time just to go along with the open doors. It's not my plan anymore. It's just surrender and go with the river, go with the flow. And that's what I did. And it just led me everywhere for years and years. And it's amazing what opportunities open up when you do that. And even if they're not the opportunities you want, it is amazing what opportunities come. It's unbelievable. I've always said to people, even amongst tragedy, you will find miracles amongst tragedy. The most worst tragedies, you can see where somehow the universe has stepped in, and things mightn't be ideal at all, but universe has stepped in, and it's very apparent. It's very obvious.
Yes, absolutely. I've noticed with the people that I know that their parents died, their
Yep.
parents had to die in order for them to have that specific career to help children, or you
Yep.
know, it was like the death of the parent that really just moved them into a space that they were going to be for the rest of their lives. So it usually, there's a reason for that happening, you know, for the tragedies to happen, and it's usually for soul growth. It's amazing.
100%, Elisa. That's exactly right. And the truth is, and I don't understand even now the bigger picture on a huge level, but I feel like that's 100% correct, because the truth is, I wouldn't have done anything if my parents were alive. No way. I was a homebody. I wouldn't have done anything. I didn't want anything to change. I liked my house. I liked simplicity, and I did not want anything to change. And the only reason I did this is because my life was turned upside down, and I didn't belong anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just when you look back, you realize like the growth that you have done from the time that that's happened to, you know, to now. It's just amazing how our soul grows so much, because when you're comfortable, you don't grow. There's no growing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the healing journey, I mean, that's the core of everything. That's the part that's tempers who we become. That shows who we become. And if you're open to it and you learn from it and you're willing to take the tragedy and even look back on it with some humor at times, I can look back and I can find humorous. I can look back at my time in hospital, and even though it wasn't pleasant at the time, and I never thought I would ever look back at it, now I can look back and find some things funny.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. So tell me about you mentioned something about doing ayahuasca, and I know ayahuasca was, even though it was really hard to do for me, it was also healing in a way. So
yes.
tell me not the details, but more like, well, what did ayahuasca do for you?
Yeah, and it's really interesting to hear you say that, because I wasn't a type of person. It wasn't really my personality that I would go and do something like that. It's just, it was so left field. And I was in the middle of the Amazon for a few weeks in there with the Kishwa Indians. And I mean, you know, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. It really was. But the experiences I had with it personally were so life-changing and healing, and my experiences with it took me right back through my life, and I understood so many things, and that I was of this world, but not belonging to it. Like, and it was almost like I was an observer, and I could look at myself with a more objective view of everything I've done, good and bad, and integrate that into my life to come. And it was very profound for me. Like you said, it was very hard. It was very difficult. And yeah, it was not pleasant, but it was necessary now when I look back.
Yes, it definitely clears you out of a lot of things that need to be cleared. And
It did.
But of course, that's not fun, right?
It was not fun at all.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm dying to find out how you said your mediumship abilities came in when you were an adult. I have never yet met, and I hang around psychics all the time.
Yeah.
And I have never, most of them always say, oh, when I was 5 years old, when I was 6 years old.
Yep.
So you're the first one I've ever heard that got your abilities like at 20 something. So I'm really interested
25.
to find out what happened.
Yep. That's what. No, nothing as a child. Nothing. You know, you know, I could say I was a very sensitive kid, but I would put it, I was just a sook. I was just, you know, I was just soft. But you know, I was a very gentle kid, but no experiences. It wasn't till it was so funny. I've told this story to so many people because it was just. There are no words to describe it. After I came out the other side of the leukemia and the death of my parents. See, the death of my parents was quite tragic because I found my dad and I tried to do CPR on him. And I ended up breaking my dad's ribs trying to do CPR. And it was a very traumatic experience, but he ended up passing away. And the same with my mum. I found my mum on the floor and I had to try and... So I tried to keep my parents alive, but they both died. It was a very tragic kind of thing I had to deal with. But after I went through that, and suddenly, it's really amazing. When I started to get better, my mum passed away. That's when I found it. It's amazing. My mum was with me through my leukemia, and the minute I started to improve after a couple of years, my mum died. Which was really weird, you know, unbelievable timing. You know, I don't believe in a coincidence. It was just unbelievable. But and then I turned 25, and literally overnight, this is where it's crazy. I thought something was wrong with me. I really did. Overnight, I could not stop thinking of the afterlife on a huge degree, not because of an experience of the afterlife. I just could not get it out of my head. And I was obsessed. I mean, I went obsessed out of the blue, and I tried to resist it because I thought, well, obviously I'm having some kind of trauma effect after everything I've been through. And it was like a burning desire that was unavoidable. And I was willing to be homeless to follow this. It was that strong. It was not because I was seeing anything or hearing anything. It was an inner pull. It was this inner pull that was so strong. It was unavoidable. It was unavoidable. And I just followed that. And that's when that took me on the journey of unfoldment, and every opportunity just came my way at the right time.
So as I mentioned before, I tried to study to be a medium because I wanted to give mothers who had lost their child
Yeah.
some solace to know
Yeah.
that their child, is okay. They're on the other side, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
It's
And
beautiful.
I tried and I tried and I tried, and it was just so hard. I gave up and ended up doing quantum hypnosis. So,
Beautiful.
yeah. So when you are doing that and when you're getting these abilities, do you realize what's happening? Like, do you understand like what's happening at the time?
Well, this is the thing, and this is where I'd like to clarify. It was hard work for a lot of years. Like, I do believe that, mediumship in itself is, it's hard work. It's there's a lot of understanding to take place. There's a lot of development that takes place. These days, people think it's a quick thing. It's not. It's not proper mediumship, not true mediumship. True mediumship's developed over years of integration, years of understanding. And these days, you see people, well, I just want to do this very quickly. I don't have the time. I want to make a career of it. I want to do this. For me, that's not the right mindset. I never had that mindset. I never had a mindset of, oh, I want to do this. I want to, it was more about the unfoldment and the miracle. I knew if the afterlife was real, then in the end, everything was okay. And as long as when I kept developing it, and it was sporadic for many years, because I didn't understand myself. Mediumship's about yourself. It's not even primarily about the spirit world. It's about yourself. It comes through you. It comes through you. And it's the more you understand yourself and the more you grow yourself is the more when your mediumship unfolds. And look, I'm not against classes and all these kind of things. They're great. They can be wonderful. I did them for a period. But where my mediumship really took hold is when I let go and I started connecting just to the world around me, just to everything, just myself, and believing more about Darren, believing more about myself. I'm confident as a person. I'm meant to be here. I believe in myself. I'm developing my self-worth that I didn't have as a child. And mediumship is confidence. It's just, people say in the power with mediumship, but it's just confidence. It's building your confidence and knowing. But it takes years. It takes years to do properly. And we're always growing. We're always students. We never stop learning, and I'm learning all the time.
Wow. So what you did then is you started connecting to things around you. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In terms of just loving life I found that through my journey, because I did it too, people use the spirit world as escapism. They use it as a magical escapism to escape the earth, to escape the mundane life, to escape the tragedy, the trauma, the abuse. And I did it too. And then I realized that, wait a second, mediumship and the spirit world is a beautiful reflection of the earth. It's if we're not appreciating our loved ones around us here and life and beautiful and just waking up and going, oh my goodness, what a beautiful day. What opportunities can we have today? Look, the sun's out. I'm going to have a coffee. I'm going to pat my dog. This is the miracle. This is the mundane, but it's the miracle. And for me, mediumship's a reflection of that. And if I'm not loving my life and I'm not loving that, then why am I doing mediumship? Because mediumship is meant to be showing that love continues on and the miracle is there. But we're also living a miracle. Our life's a miracle. And it just takes a healing journey to realize that, I think, because that was the same for me. I had a hard life too, and sometimes we don't want to be here. We all have those thoughts. We don't want to be here, and that's just the way it is. But if we stick things out and trust, people would be amazed. what takes place.
Yeah. Wow. So your mediumship abilities, what clairs are you have developed?
It's so funny. It's so funny because when I don't even really think about that. I just let it all come together. But when I think about it, obviously, clairvoyance and clairaudience, I work strongly on those, but I don't even think about it these days. I just let it just comes through the way it comes through. I don't even divide it up anymore. It's a power that is very obvious when it's connected. And once I feel that vibration and that power, it's like, right, now I know you're here. I trust whatever you need to do. So I don't really sort of think about those things anymore. But thinking about them, I would say, if I had to really be honest, I'd say I predominantly work through a clairvoyant aspect.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So for those that don't know, clairvoyant is somebody that can see things, and clairaudient
Yep.
is somebody that can hear things.
Yep.
And so I've always wanted to be clairvoyant, but I have just a clairsentience or clair, like it's just a knowing, knows
which is
things. I don't know
beautiful.
where it
Which is
comes from.
beautiful.
So, but it's hard because I don't know what I know. Like somebody will say, "Oh, this happened or that happened," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I know," and I'm like, oh, "How did I know that?"
It's really funny, and I've heard this so much through my journey. People, that's almost the best thing. It's people don't understand that feeling and knowing are the building blocks of the whole thing. It's the building. I hear people dismiss aspects of their mediumship, go, "Oh, I'm no good. I only feel things." I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Feeling is the building block through where everything builds, and that's how you access the different power. That's the main building block. That's beautiful. And geez, I tell you what, when I'm working with my mediumship, and like you just said, Elisa, even if I'm not hearing or seeing anything and the power's there and I just know, that's the best. That's where you want it to be. That's when the power just blends so strongly with you. It doesn't even have anything to show you. It just blends with you, and it's like downloading from a computer.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that's definitely the hardest, the sentience. I have a knowing. I don't necessarily feel things necessarily. I just know things, but I agree with you. I think sentience is like probably the most amazing one to have, to know what people feel like, and that's huge. That's huge.
So it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you started developing your abilities, was your mom or your dad the first contact that you had, or?
No. It was really funny. I'm a very skeptical person. I'm very skeptical. Even of mediums these days, I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical for years of myself. I put myself, that's why I've had a very slow journey, because I'm not an airy-fairy person. I'm a factual person. I'm very analytical. If the spirit world's real, you better prove it to me. Otherwise, I'm not buying it. That's where I'm at. It's just the way I am. And but for me, the real proof for me started to come when I had a friend. He was an older friend, and after I got better, I started having contact from his family, and I was very skeptical. But it was so clear experiences, and the details were so wonderful. And I would share it with him, and he'd be like, oh my goodness, yes. And I was like, my goodness. And then I would try to do it, and I would fail. And I couldn't understand why it would come through at times. And then when I'd consciously try to do it, I couldn't access it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it drove me crazy. I started to get so frustrated because on one hand I was having miracles occur, even to the point where, you know, addresses were coming through for people, or
Oh my God.
first and second names were coming through for people. So on one aspect I was totally bought on it and go, oh my goodness, this is accessible. Right, I must have arrived with it, so now I'll be right. Then I couldn't access it. And this went on for years. And this is why I think people quit. This is why I think people say, you know what, it's not meant to be. I can't do this. I don't believe that. I think sometimes you just got to stick at it. It's a hard journey. And I think you have to learn how to. I don't think the blocks are the spirit world. I think the blocks are us. I think it's our own healing journey that blocks us, and our own mind, our own lack of confidence, and our own lack of self-worth that stops us from accessing the spirit world. That's what I've found. This is all my own opinion, but that's what I've found for myself.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Back in the day when I tried, that was my first try when I was just starting to be spiritual, and I had not done the healing work. And this healing work has taken me 10 years. So it's not,
Exactly.
you know, it's not the what is it, dark night of the soul. It's more the dark decade of the soul.
dark night of your life. Yeah.
It's just, oh my goodness, it's just really it takes a while to do that healing. So yeah, I think for me, now that you mention it, if you feel that was the case, then for sure for me it was a self-worth issue. Like, oh, how can I do that? I mean, my friend here, she can tell you things like that, and I can even come up with a color, you know.
See, it's all self-worth. It's all, I've been there, I've done that, and I just, it's amazing. It's all to do with inner healing, and I knew this earlier on, but I didn't understand it to the depth I do now. Now I've sort of developed more of a I don't care attitude, and I don't mean that entirely that I don't care. What it is I don't have the pressure on myself anymore. I know the spirit world exists. I know it does because I experience it every day. And now I don't care. It's like, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just what will be, will be. I don't care what people think. I don't care if they believe it or not. That's up to them, and I respect that. I was there. I was totally there. I'm still there sometimes. I'm like looking at something, I'm not bored on that. But sometimes I hear things from the spirit world and I go, you know what? Yeah, I don't think I believe, I'm not sure I believe that myself. But, you know, it's just the way I am. I'm very analytical, and you've got to prove it to me.
Yeah, wow. So when you are doing a session, do you wait for the spirits to come in for that person, or if that person says, oh, my husband died, I want to talk to him, are you able to do both, or you just
definitely I prefer not to know. But the funny thing is, and this is what I like to put out there because mediums don't really talk about it, I'm terrified before I do any session or any demonstration, because mediumship's such a vulnerable experience, and the confidence only comes after years of showing that it worked. Like it only, like, I'm terrified. Like, especially beginners, they're terrified because they don't know if they're going to get a link. They don't know if it's going to work. Oh my goodness, I'm putting myself out there, and I still feel that. But the difference is, because of the development of mediumship, because of the development of it, I now know as soon as I feel that power, that overrides my fear. That overrides it, because I'm like, oh, well, even though Darren's scared whether he'll fail or succeed, I know you're here now, so I can just let go and trust you. And I can just let go because I know you're there. But, you know, beginning mediums, they don't fully know that. They don't know they're there. So they're dealing with a lot of, oh, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Like, and that gets in the way a lot.
So how do you feel that they're there? I know that and of course, I think people make this up as they go, but in the mediumship classes that I went, they said there's some kind of gatekeeper who you can tell this gatekeeper, listen, at 7 p.m. at night, I'm going to bed. Do not bother me. Do not
Yeah.
allow any spirits to come through. I'm out,
Yeah.
So do you have a gatekeeper?
Well, I would say I do, but see, again, I don't really think about those kind of things. I mean, to the degree of what you've said. For me, I do put out thoughts and prayers, and I do say, oh, look, but it's more like, can you come, can you help me help this person? Can you just bring the right person that will help this person? And I know they're there through years of discernment in my head. Through years, it only comes after years. This is why the mediumship journey is such a slow back and forth journey until it really sort of, you're able to discern between your energy and spirit world's energy. But for me, there's a certain vibration that is, I can just feel. I don't even have to hear or see them. I just can feel, oh, right, there they are. And then it's almost like a mirage, but you're not seeing a mirage. You feel like you're in a mirage of desert energy. When you're looking through that haze in the desert, but it's like you're feeling that, and then everything comes within that. But it sort of took years to feel that, like to really understand that, because I couldn't differentiate between, oh my goodness, am I wanting this, or am I think I feel this, or but then it's just a certain vibration, a feeling that's around when and it goes from there, and it builds from there.
So when you say vibration, are we talking like feeling like like actual physical feeling, or more like
yeah, I would say to a degree. It's so hard. It's so interesting having this conversation with you, because I'm not one that's really broken it up like this, but I would say physical to a degree, because you can feel it, and it's everything. The heart starts beating, the heart, the palpitations can come. It's a quickening. You know how people describe it as a quickening? It's like a quickening of everything, and it's the heart rate goes up, the breathing goes up, and you can just feel a presence around your body, even if it's not a spirit person. It's an energy. You can feel a conscious energy around you, and it causes me to get very nervous or appear very nervous, even though I mightn't be nervous, but it's making my whole system, nervous system, come into play. And it's like, oh, now I'm feeling these extreme nerves. Now I know you're there. I can feel it, and it's pulsing. Because the spirit will play on your nervous system, and that's why, a lot of mediumship, I don't know if doing a lot's really that healthy for you. I don't know. It can play with your nervous system, and for me, it can definitely play with my nervous system. And if I do too much of it, it's like, oh my goodness, I need to take a break.
Wow. Okay. So if you have somebody that comes through that's really sad, or somebody who went through a car accident and they're still in that state of shock or whatever, do you feel that as well? Like, do you feel their sadness or their frustration or their whatever they're feeling?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely whatever they wish to convey. Whatever they wish to convey. I think anything's possible. I think you can get anything from the spirit world. I just think anything's possible. But yeah, you can definitely feel. And it's so funny because every connection is different. This is why mediumship is such a vulnerable experience. It's like it's different every time. You never know. The spirit communicator might not have a clue what they're doing. They mightn't have a clue what they're doing, and they might know how to access certain parts of your ability. So you've got to be open. Even if you're used to working a certain way, you've got to be open to, well, wait a second. We've got to see how this person is able to connect to me. They might not be able to connect to me in a way that I wish. So I've got to be open to how they can do it. So it's different every time.
Okay. Do you ever give messages when you're like at a store or you're at a restaurant or something, you're doing something
Never.
normal and then a message comes through and you're like, oh crap, I got to go give this message to someone?
It's really funny. I've never done that, and I'll tell you why. For me, I've just never thought for myself, and you know, we've all got our own different opinions and that. I've just never thought for myself that was appropriate. For me, I never thought, you know, even though there could be something important, I've just never thought, no, I should do that. I just think people should have their boundaries. That this is just my opinion, but people should have their boundaries. But no, I've never done that. There may have been once or twice, but more of a friend. Maybe I've said, look, I did have something. Are you open to if I've said it? And if I say it and they've said, oh, yeah. And then I've probably said it, but not really a stranger. But geez, okay. I tell you what, I'd be awkward with that.
Yeah.
I'd be so awkward with that. Oh my goodness. And I grew up, I grew up with, pretty skeptical people around me. I was the odd one when this started happening, I'm pretty skeptical people. So I've had to prove it in a way, and that they'll still be like, I still don't know if I buy it, but I know they do. They just don't want to admit it. They just don't want to admit it to me.
So, Jeff, I know usually you don't talk, on our shows, but you want to tell people how you met Darren and how amazing he is?
Sure. Well, I'd gone to a sound bath on a Saturday night at a friend's place, and it's really great. And afterwards, you have a tea and coffee. And I talked about Darren Archer, and I said, I've heard the name. And they said, well, he no longer goes to this venue, doesn't go to that venue, but he's going to be down in Beenleigh on the road to the coast on tomorrow morning. So went along to this event, and I'm sitting there, and Darren's got up and he's standing in front of the audience. People who are familiar with those shows, that you see with John Edwards, Darren does that. So he's done 4 particular readings with 4 individuals, and then he throws it out there, and no one takes it. So he gets a bit pissed off as well when nobody's taken what I'm giving out there. No one wants to put their hand up to say, I'll get this. And then anyway, all of a sudden, I got all these warm and fuzzies. You mentioned it before. I got all these warm and fuzzies. And I thought, hang on a sec. So I put my hand up like this really gingerly. I said, this is really abstract. But the message was, I've got this lady called Erin. I've got a rural block, and I've got a scarecrow. Yeah. It was so abstract. But then I was getting all these warm and fuzzies, and I thought, my cousin, him and his wife, they bought a lifestyle block. And I'm not too sure if they had a scarecrow. I've only been to that place once, and that's over in another country. It's in New Zealand. And they've got a daughter called Erin. And I said, well, hang on a sec. So then he said, well, did they get a house that had to be relocatable? And I said, yeah. In fact, they've got this old home that was like 150 years old, but they couldn't get it onto the prime mover and take it down through the streets of Auckland. They had to chop it up in half and then take it to the and stitch it together. He said, I'm with you. And then he went for 20, 25 minutes, and I had to apologize to the people in the group. He was focused on me, and he was just bringing all these different names, see? And I apologized to everybody, look, I'm really, really sorry. And Darren said, look, I'm with you. And he said, I could leave any time, but I'm not, because you've just got so many people here who want to step up, see? So he then starts naming names, and of course, he's got a Jack. Well, at the time, I said, oh, yeah, that's Dad's best mate who's passed away. But funny enough, this morning when I was going to do the show today, and I'm thinking, Jack. Oh my God, there was 2 other Jacks I could have said. There was my sister who's called Jack, you know. I've got this Labrador dog on my walk who doesn't like anybody, but he comes and he just wraps his paws around me. He goes deep hugs, and the owner of the dog just, can't believe it, Jeff, you're a dog whisperer or something. I said, oh, Jack's really loving it. Anyway, so he goes and names other members of the family, and then he gets next door neighbours, you know, who've kicked the bucket. And then he's talked about members of the community centre, and he's talked about some people from the sporting days. Yeah. And then he talks about, what's the story with birds? I said, yeah, I've got this bloody butcher bird. I could watch it from my office, and it flew in, and it came right up to my office window, and it started and I said, hang on, I'll go and open the front door, and you can come into the office and you can tell me what's going on. So I said, tell the person on the phone, oh, I've got to go. I've got someone just turned up at the door. So I hung up this person, and I opened the front door in the office, and then the bird came walking and came into my office, jumped on the chair, started buddy. So I got my buddy phone out. I took a photo and a video clip, because no one's going to believe you the story about a bird coming in and having a chat. So, but I forgot to tell him, I've got this buddy magpie. This magpie turned up last October, and I just come back from the supermarket with mints. And I couldn't believe it. I said, oh, I better go and give him some mints. So I gave him some mints. I didn't buy any mints till bloody April. And lo and behold, this magpie turns up. I've only just brought the mints. It's been bloody 5 months since I brought mints. So I'm feeding it mints. It comes knocking on the bloody front door. So I go out there, and it comes hopping up the steps, and then it jumps on my knees. Jumps from one right, left, right. I feed it bloody mints, you see. Buggers off. Never see it again. And then so it turns up again, knock on the door. And I thought, oh, I've got no mints. So I thought, I wonder if it likes toasted muesli. So I go out there with toasted muesli. Man, this thing's just jumping up on my arm and it's feeding out of my hand. And birds, buddy, there he is. He's saying, what's the story with birds? So I didn't expand it like I've just said on the show now, because it's for long-term benefit. So we go from the birds, and then he gets, I got an elf. And I have to say, we saw that took place the other day, where he's talking about Teresa, and no one in the group could take Teresa. And he was just doing his head in. I got Teresa. And went for about whole event. He's going Teresa. And then finally, this woman, the light bulb turned on. Oh, yeah, I got Teresa. So he goes. Yeah,
it's right where I was pointing too.
Yeah. And then he's got an elf, Alfred. No, I thought, elf, I've got an Archibald. But I was like that woman on Sunday night. Couldn't take it. And then when I get home, I thought, oh, my God, that was my boss in the shipping customs business. Yeah. I can't believe it. I mean, you do get those moments when you...
Yeah, of course.
They get it, you see. Anyway, so he gives this message, So he's gone about through 20 different names. And then he leaves me and goes and does this other reading for another lady. Then he turns around and says, oh, Jeff, I've got this other lady, Rita. And I got, oh my God, it's 40 years ago, and that was my former mother-in-law. I couldn't, like, hello, And he's named 2 clairvoyant mediums, this guy Ken from Brisbane, Bill from the UK. And so I didn't get the time to go up to him and say thank you very much, because the lady across the aisle came and spoke to me for 25 minutes, and then
she did,
Darren. But I got hold of through that event organizer, Wilma, and she gave me his phone number, and I said, Darren, it'd be very gracious if you could come on and dream the new dream, and then show people that we've all got different gifts, and they come in different ways. You're the electrician or the plumber or you're mechanic. Here's one that's about bridging the gap between this world and the next world, and you realize that we've all got these gifts, and here we are today, and I really appreciate you coming on, Darren, and thank you, Elisa.
Oh, no, it's great. It's great to meet new people and talk to you guys.
Well, the benefit is that, Elisa is so au fait with the subject, and it makes it easier to be able to communicate and listen.
Yeah.
And, we don't have to be like any other organization it's really in your face, and it's challenging you, and it creates a negative energy. That's not what the show is all about. Dreaming the New Dream is about bringing out the best of people and showing you that wherever you are in the world, on this planet, you're not alone. And that's the most important.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. So tell us, Darren, any what are your favorite stories to tell that you know about what's happened in your life with this gift?
My goodness, this is what I mean. For me, looking back at my life now, I just see this wonderful miracle with all these poignant moments of synchronicities and amazing things that have taken place that you look back and go, oh my goodness, I was guided like the whole time. And this relates to everybody. Everybody would have these. Everybody would have these. But, through the development of my mediumship, I guess some of my favorites looking back would be the moments when I was in more of a self-doubting phase, like not really confident what I'm doing and not really sold that, can I do this properly and having these moments that just were so affirming, but I'm such a slow person to integrate things. So I took my time, but there's just been so many moments like in when I was starting, when I've done readings or had these moments where these amazing things have come through. Like I remember this guy, he just came and sat in front of me. And these are the most poignant moments that really instilled the self-belief. And that's why I say to any mediums out there that are developing, you need to think of your successes and hold them close and know that you can access this and use it as a way to inspire yourself. But because that's what I did when I was in the self-doubting phase. But this guy sat down in front of me and I brought through somebody and gave a message and stuff like this. And I remember saying to him, he's saying something about Rosemount, a place called Rosemount. And he had no idea what I was talking about. And I thought, well, this is when I was sort of beginning. I thought, oh, my goodness, I'm so bad. I got that so clearly. Now I can't trust spirit. That was so clear for me, and that's wrong. So how am I meant to trust spirit? And I beat myself up over that for months going, well, that was clairaudient and that was so clear. How can I trust spirit? How can I trust them? And I beat myself up for so many months. And then I was doing a demonstration and I seen the guy who came to see me in the audience. And I thought, oh, my goodness, talk about bringing up trauma. There's that guy who I was 100% sure about, and now he's there. Oh, my goodness. Now it's remembering I'm not good enough. Like, he came up to me after and he goes, oh, by the way, I don't know if you remember me. And I'm thinking, I think I said, oh, not really. But really, I'm like, yeah, you're in my nightmares. Like, but it's like, he said to me, I have to apologize to you. You gave me a reading and it was so accurate, but I just couldn't work out. I don't know if you remember talking to me about Rosemount. And I said, oh, no, I don't really remember that. But I'm thinking, yeah, I remember that. And he said to me, I have to apologize. I went home to my wife and I told him I had this reading and it was really good from this guy, but he just kept going on about Rosemount. I don't know what he's talking about. And then he said, my wife punched me in the arm. And then he said, his wife said, we got married at Rosemount. Yeah. So, and it was his dad coming through who didn't make the wedding. And that piece did come through, but we didn't put it together. And but there's been a million of those, but those are the sort of the favorites. That's the moments where you go, oh my goodness, this is real. This is real. And I remember a friend of mine once, I woke up in the morning and I heard a voice. This is in my early years when I was still trying to find my way. And I heard a voice and it said something about a friend of theirs living at number 26. And it was so clear. And I thought, right, I'm going to test the spirit world. If this is wrong, I'm never trusting you again, ever in a million years, because you cannot get any clearer than that. And if that's wrong, well, I just cannot trust you. So I told my friend, do you have a friend by this name that lives at number 26? And she said, yeah, I have a friend by that name, but I don't know where they live. I don't know. She said, I'll find out and I'll let you know. And I went, oh, okay. So later she texted me and said, oh my goodness, my friend lives at number 26, like you said. So those moments instilled in me, oh my goodness, this is real. This is absolutely real. And that helped me gain more confidence. And yeah, you know, you go through your ups and downs, but it just instilled that foundation of knowing, not just thinking, well, I'm feeling something. It put in that foundation of, I now know that that's real on some level. And that's what those did. And there's a million of those. You know, I was a very skeptical person, so they had to give me a million of them. You know, there was years of this, like, you know, like I'm like, oh, Darren, he never believes anything we say, but we're just going to keep hammering him for years until he gets it. So I was a very slow learner, but it's those experiences that now I look back and I'm probably most fond of, because they put me in the more trust category of what I do now. So
okay. And do you ever get pets that come through? Any pets?
Pet, absolutely. Because I'm such an animal person, I get a lot of pets. Absolutely. I love animals. I love it when pets come through, and I love the reactions. I love how people are so connected to their animals, and they say to me, you know what? I love that animal just as much as my mum and dad. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's why it's important that we do connect with our animals as well.
Yes, absolutely. So I thought that would be interesting. Now I'm going to throw you a question from left field. I apologize if it rattles you, but have you ever had any extraterrestrials come through?
That's amazing that you've brought that up, because I'll tell you something. I actually have a very close friend. She's amazing. She's an amazing astrologer. She's incredible. She lives in Canada. And she's really big into UFOs and aliens. And I didn't really believe too much in them, even when the whole spirit world thing was going on. And this is what I mean about trusting the journey to open you up. This is, again, my years where I'm finding my footing and everything. Now I've settled into the spirit world thing, and the whole messages are coming through for friends on this level that is wonderful. So I'm now sold on the spirit world. I'm sold on it. I'm like, okay, you've got me there. I now know you're real. Now people are talking about aliens, and I'm like, yeah, now you're going outside of what I'm thinking. And suddenly, it's so funny. You know, if you're meant to open up, you're meant to open up. And suddenly I start getting a lot of people around me talking about aliens, and my friend who I was giving messages to told me stories about how he's so connected to seeing UFOs, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But, you know, it's like, yeah, sure. And he said, why don't we go out one night to a property of my nephew's, and I'll take you up a mountain. I will show you a UFO. And I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. I tell you what, I'd like to go out there just because I'd like to do that with you, because I like doing those things. But yeah, all right. I'm telling you, we went up to that mountain, and to this day, I seen something that was so big and so not... I still can't explain that. And that really changed my mind. And then I started having, like you said, for about a period of 6 months, I had some weird communication with ET. I thought, what's going on? Am I now moving more into ET stuff and not spirit world stuff? But it was only for about 6 months. And it really changed my view on the universe. And I started having these experiences with what I can only say, it makes me sound quite, geez, I tell you what, if my brother sees this, he's going to be like, yep, he's really crazy. Like, but it's just like, but I really did have experiences with ETs for about 6 months, and then it stopped, and it's never happened again. But for 6 months, absolutely. But what it did was open me up to, now I know anything's possible.
Yes. Everything
and anything is possible. And now I know this. Whereas I didn't know that before. And if somebody had brought up ETs, I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. But now I know.
Yeah. So I concentrate a lot on the galactics, is, you know, what I call them. because the good ones, the ones that are in the higher dimensions, are
Yep.
absolutely the most amazing
Yep.
energies you can ever imagine. And so I it's quite often that you'll see a psychic, and sometimes they haven't ventured into that space.
Yep.
And I always have a galactic connection to this show, or I try to as much as I can.
Wow.
So that's why I brought it up, just to
Yeah,
see.
yeah, and it's amazing. And my friend, who she's so amazing. She's a well-known astrologist in Canada, and she's amazing. She was at me for years about ETs and Sedona. I ended up going to Sedona twice. Because of her, she said, no, you got to go Sedona. Come on, you love your snakes. You could probably go out and find rattlesnakes there. Come on, you need to come over. And yeah, so I did that, and I had a great time in Sedona. I thought Sedona was just, oh my goodness, talk about just having some space to really connect with the earth and land, and just some healing. And oh my goodness, I just had such a great time there.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. And the last time I went, there were certain areas where I could feel what was underneath the rocks. So a lot of those areas, they're fake rocks. Like
Yep.
they make it look like
Yep.
they're rocks, but they didn't do a good job, because
Yeah.
it's melted rock. It's like they just like melted. Like, you're like, come on, do a better job of covering the stuff. Like, but
Yeah.
there's what's it called? Bell Rock. So next to Bell Rock, there's one.
Yeah, I know Bell Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, the one next to it that's really big, that looks like a building. When
Yeah.
I went by there, I felt that there was a city in there, inside, underneath. There's a city going
Wow.
on.
Cathedral.
Yeah. And so
Is it cathedral or something?
yes, no, the cathedral is somewhere else, but
because I did climb one of them. I climbed one of them, and it was near Bell Rock, and I climbed one of them, and I went right up to the top, and it was just amazing.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I just think, like, since you're already psychic and you already have the ability to receive communication telepathically, that's how they talk to us. They talk to us telepathically.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I just figure I would ask you.
No. And I think too, I agree. I think it's also intention. I think it's because exactly they would communicate the same way as a loved one in spirit. But I think it's intention. I think for me, because of all my loss and my family, and putting value so much on family, I think I was very drawn to. I think the greatest message we can ever know, for me, the greatest message we can ever know is that everything's okay in the end. And as much tragedy and trauma as you go through, and you've lost people, they're truly not gone. Even though we feel it on the earth, and we miss their presence, and it's not the same, but they're not gone, and they're still alive. And I think that's the greatest thing we could ever know, is that. Is if we know that, well, everything's okay in the end.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's Sedona. Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Beautiful. That brings back so many memories.
Yes. Yep. Special place for sure.
Oh, so, I spent so much twice. Oh, I loved it. I did so much. I had so much peace when I was there. I actually love America. I actually love America geographically. I think America, from East Coast to West Coast, has got so much variation. I'm a huge fan of the wildlife and the geography of America. From British Columbia, I caught snakes in British Columbia. I seen the killer whales in British Columbia. To the other side, I caught snakes in New York State, and just Arizona, Nevada. America's just got such amazing variety of landscape and wildlife. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. We're very blessed here. But I think you guys do
Yep.
too over there. You guys have a
Oh,
lot,
definitely.
a lot of things over there too, which is
Yeah.
amazing. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, so tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they want to have a session with you.
Yeah, they can just contact me through the website there, the White Swan website. And it's really funny. I named it White Swan for a reason. It's because I did a reading for a girl, and she had such beautiful connections come through. And her grandmother said to her, just remember the white swans when you're struggling. And she started to cry, and she said, oh my goodness, my grandmother used to say that to me. And it was such a moving moment. I actually asked that girl, and I said, look, I'm thinking of doing a website. Do you mind if I use white swans as the heading, just because that message moved me so much with you? I wanted, and she was just honored. She said, oh my goodness, I would love it if you use that. So that's how I named it. But yeah, you can just connect through that, and I've just got an email on there, and people can send a message and just touch base. And I'm always willing to try and help if I can.
Okay, wonderful, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming. We so appreciate you.
Oh, that's okay. It's been so great talking. It's actually been really even healing on a level talking to you about this, because to rethink about some of this stuff, which I don't do a lot anymore because life's moved on. But it's been amazing to talk about some of this stuff with you and relive it and realize, oh my goodness, come a long way, and we can all sort of relate to that, if we reflect and realize how far we've come in our own life.
Yes, absolutely.
So no,
Absolutely.
it's been an absolute pleasure.
Good. Same here.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed every minute.
Oh, thanks, Elisa. That's nice. Thank you. Me too.
All right.
Right. Darren, appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you too.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.